Welcome to another show of Wrestling Bookmarks. I am Rob, or as Kenny likes to dub me, Rob the Slob, ever since COVID Con. We have our guest tonight, Jonathan Plombon, the author of this lovely book. Let me just throw that up real quick. Tortured Ambition, the story of Herb Abrams and the UWF. Jonathan, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. So far, so good. I'm excited to hear about this book. We chatted just a little bit at the beginning. Let's get that back out of the way. What made you pick this topic?
Well, I was, like I said, I was watching it. I watched as a child. I was about, I don't know, 10 years old when it originally aired on like Sports Channel. We had like the Sports Channel, the Social channel. But anyway, it kind of stuck with me. I got all the professional wrestling. I didn't really follow it for a few years. And then when I was in high school, my cousin got me interested in it again. And it was just one of those things that, that was right around the time when the internet started to, really blow up. And I started looking up all these old sort of, promotions and wrestlers and stuff that I hadn't seen. And that's when I started learning about the turmoil and crazy stories about Herb Abrams. And I always thought back then that would be a pretty decent idea for a book. It was, the problem was finding out information when that sort of information wasn't initially available. But I got pretty lucky and was able to, fill 400 some pages with it. So it all worked out, I think.
Very nice. Now, without giving away too much, how much met your expectations and how much of the research went well beyond what you thought you were going to find?
I would getting in contact with sort of like I would say the sports channel executives and them filling me in on sort of that side. I didn't know if I was going to be able to convince anyone, the person who was managing the Blackjack Brawl, the MGM Grand at the time. That was sort of the weird things I didn't gonna get. I thought I would get like full wrestlers, but I never thought I'd be able to get the behind the scenes people so much. So that was I think that, and there was a referee in UWF called Larry Sampson. I was looking for him. I looked for him for years, and that was one of the ones I got pretty much at the last moment. And I was very surprised. I was very happy to finally be able to put him in there because I've been searching for so long. And then what was the first question again?
I was just curious how much of the research you found actually met your expectations, like you anticipated it, but how much went beyond?
Okay. I think when some of the information that didn't actually meet my expectations kind of was that I never thought that there would be so many different perspectives on stories, and with with it being like 30 years ago or something, probably 30 years ago, it was a lot of people remembered stuff differently. So I never really knew if people were maybe trying to tell me something, trying to embellish and get themselves over, or if they just didn't know. And that was, I think, that sort of information was what was always kind of frustrating. Putting everything in the book, I guess, everybody's perspective, because I just thought that was probably the best way I could do it at this point. So I think it was that information that I was hoping to get more sort of straight stories where everybody remembers the same thing, but that didn't quite happen.
Well, yeah, just like fish stories, they always exaggerate a little, don't they?
That's right.
Now, other than Larry, like, was there anybody that you had wanted to talk to that you were able to get a hold of?
Oh yeah, good. I think everyone. I remember, well, Sunny Beach was the first one who actually agreed to talk to me. So that was I was very happy that he agreed to that because I had a great starting place because he was not only wrestled for the UWF, but he was a close friend of Herb Abrams. The other ones that I think come to mind were Steve Ray, who took a few years to locate. I know Ivory, Lisa Moretti, the wrestler. I didn't think that she was going to agree to it because she was someone who still had sort of name recognition today, but she agreed to talk to me, so that was pretty cool. It's trying to like think of exactly who I was happier to talk to. I guess it was like I think it was a lot of like the girlfriend in the that I spoke to that he had that she had dated before all the sort of the drugs and all that sort of thing started. It was interesting to find out who Herb Abrams was before the wrestling, before he started the wrestling promotion, before the stories got all crazy. So, yeah, geez, I think I know I'm going to think back and wonder why I can't remember these, but
Well, it's because you're on the spot.
yeah,
You're
there
under
was
pressure.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of interviews. I think I interviewed over 50 people. For some reason, I'm blanking on all of them here right now. So, um, geez,
Well,
like I said before, a lot of the executives, Brian Ricco was pretty great to talk to. Um, El Burke was the one who was with him a lot in wrestling towards the end of his career, Abrams's career. So that was really interesting too. He gave me a lot of information and stuff like that. Yeah, I think those. I'm sure I'll think of more later, but those are the ones that sort of pop into my mind right now. So
was there anyone that you had hoped to get but couldn't?
yeah, I tried like Sid Vicious. I remember trying him a couple times. I never got a reply. Uh, uh, the executives at Prime Sports, which was the channel that Herb Abrams was on in California, the Sports Channel America deal. I thought for sure that one of them would want to talk. Uh, and you always kind of hope that you'd get like the Bob Orton or Paul or the Bruno Sammartino because at that time he was those individuals were alive, Paul Orton and Bruno Sammartino. Those would have been, I think, great. The other one would be Zug's Rift, who was the booker for like one show in '93, I want to say. And when I started, I contacted his website, his official website, and felt that his wife was handling the mails and the websites and the Facebook at that time. So I missed him. I would have loved to have gotten those stories down with him and his perspective, but that obviously didn't happen because he passed away, a few months later after that. So
No, I could see that. Yeah, Sid didn't get back to you on that. Oh, are you still there, Jonathan? I think his camera feed must have frozen for a second. That's okay. We can improvise for a second. I hope. No, the book looks amazing. Jonathan's on here talking about his book, Tortured Ambition: The Story of Herb Abrams and the UWF. And just I have not read the book, but I know the stories I've read. I've spoken with Sid, and we had that one story on the podcast. Sounds so wild. Like I got to be honest, I didn't know the book existed, so I'll be ordering it as soon as the show's over. Um, I would suggest you do that as well. Anybody out there listening, that way you can get to the bottom of all these different stories that you hear from. Oh, okay, he'll be back. That way you can get to the bottom of all these interesting stories, because it sounds like he's interviewed quite a few people. And he said there was over 50 people that he was able to interview. And I do know that, especially with was it Blackjack Brawl? Yeah, the UWF Blackjack Brawl. With there he is. With that particular pay-per-view, there was a lot of people involved. And I can imagine the stories that would have come from that. Are you there, Jonathan? It's looking like a feed issue right now. Okay, we'll see if we get him back in here. Again, the book. Let me just push that one more time. Tortured Ambition, the story of Herb Abrams and the UWF. The stories you read, if you go online, there's a ton of crazy stuff out there. This might be the book that can put some of those to rest, because with 50 people being interviewed, there's going to be a lot of crossover stories. There's going to be a lot of people going, yeah, okay, that didn't happen quite like this. This is how I remember it. And those are the people that you want to talk to. So there we go. Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, I hope that wasn't my computer that screwed up there.
I'm not sure. We were chatting a bit, and then your picture just froze.
Yeah. Yep. And then, like I saw, just two blank screens, so I'm not sure. Hope
Yeah,
that doesn't
that's
happen again.
the beauty of technology, right?
Yeah. Well, my computer's like 12 years old or something, so I'm kind of thinking that it was probably something on my end. So
Not a worry.
okay.
With UWF, like their biggest pay-per-view was that Blackjack Brawl. Is there a lot of focus on that, or is it more focused on the man as opposed to the UWF?
Well, the Blackjack Brawl was a special on Sports Channel America. Actually, on Sports Channel, it wasn't on Sports Channel America. That wasn't the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view was Beach Brawl in '91. But in terms of like the wrestling, I actually think I focused maybe too much on the wrestling and on the episodes, like the UWF episodes, Fury Hour. That's one of that's some of the feedback that I've been getting, is that I probably shouldn't have gone through every little detail on every single UWF Fury Hour broadcast, and I probably should have kept it more towards just Herb Abrams. I mean, there's a lot of Herb Abrams stuff, and I probably could have filled it with just the Herb Abrams stuff, but yeah, I think that was a mistake on my part. But there is plenty of information and background information, stuff like that. People who were there for like the Blackjack Brawl, and yeah. So basically, I think I ended up writing about wrestling too much, and maybe I didn't center it around Herb Abrams like I probably should have. So.
Well, during that period, Herb was wrestling. He was so focused on UWF. It would be tough to separate them, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was definitely. It was for him. It was definitely like he always thought it would. It wasn't going to end. I think he always was thinking that he could get some more investors, or get someone else to get a different TV deal. He always thought that there was going to be a future for it all, and it just, it's that sort of thing. I think that was kind of, well, it's one of those sort of depressing, I think, aspects of it, was that you kind of saw him try so hard to make this thing work, but at the same time, he was basically shooting himself in the foot with all the mistakes and all the decisions he was making. Yeah. I mean, yeah, pretty much. I think that's sort of what I think about that.
Um, how long did you focus on this book? Like, how long was your writing process for it?
Um,
Because it sounded like you had a few years where you were trying to get a hold of people.
it was a long, guess it was like 10 years. And, um, there were a couple years there where I just wasn't, so the back seat. But, the writing process was just like get as many interviews as you could, get as many documents, and write you know, a outline and stuff like that, and try to figure everything out, put everything in order. Basically, started writing it. It was one of those things where I guess I just had to sit down and just I don't know, just go order the way the book would be written. Um, yeah, the writing process was basically me sweating over getting interviews, and then acting, and then looking back and figuring out, oh, I missed this question, and then have anxiety because I was thinking that someone's going to read this and ask for that one part that I missed. So, and then my writing process was just to get home from work and do my best. Some nights I really didn't want to, but I kept going.
Well, I don't think there would be much you possibly could have missed because the book is 437 pages. Like that's gargantuan for a book.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Well,
couldn't have missed too much.
it's it's I think about this that there were things that a lot of the close people to Herb Abrams, they would start off by telling me there are certain things I'm not going to tell you because it could incriminate someone else or incriminate the person they were talking to. So I always think that there's like this entire world that wasn't able to look into, and your mind wanders about what all that stuff could have been. It's like another book. If someone that also out there like gets to gain the trust of some of these people, and then able to write it down in the book, there's a whole new, I think, story in there. But there's always things that I wish I would have found that I never did. It's I would have loved to have found, like, if I tried calling like her name was Debbie Quinn, and I tried calling so many Debbie Quinns and various, and they a few of them were just absolutely confused by me asking them about this wrestling promoter that they might have been married to in 1999. So that was always interesting, and considering that I always have like anxiety about calling people without actually knowing them, and that was pretty. Um, I'm very proud of myself for being able to push myself, even if I wasn't able to get the subject that I wanted.
It had to have been kind of nerve-wracking to cold call these people, you know.
Mm-hmm. Um, Sorry, I missed the first part of that. My
Oh,
sound on my computer kind of
it's
dipped
all
out
good.
there.
I was just agreeing with you. Like it must have been nerve-wracking to look at this list of names and cold call these people and say, "Are you the right person? Are you the right person?" You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jeez, I'm trying to think of other people that I tried calling, to try finding them. To tell you the truth, that really didn't work out that well. I don't know if it worked at all. I don't know if I ever was able to contact the right people, or the right people who answered the phone told them that they didn't know Herb Abrams, just to get me off the line. Um, yeah, I mean, I think back to that. I was looking on the internet, I'd write down, there would be phone numbers all over the place, and be like, this person's phone number is such and such. And then you'd call it and it'd be like either disconnected, or they would have no idea what I was talking about. So it was nerve wracking. I wish it would have helped out a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, all that stuff is super stressful for me because, like I said, like as you could tell, talking isn't my best suit. Like I kind of ramble a lot of times and lose track of what I'm talking about. So that only obviously made it harder. Yeah.
But see, it's those big things like that that make the payoff feel even better. So now looking back at this book, you must have, the best sense of pride because you literally did everything you could for this book.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I was talking to Sandy Krebs, who was um, he, I can't remember exactly what it was, but which magazine it was, but he was the editor of it. And I was talking to him about his interaction with Herb Abrams. And I remember towards the end of our discussion, he said, you may want to choose a different subject because no one knows who this guy was. And after that, I felt I didn't tell him that I had like all this information yet, but when he said that, that was sort of a feeling, that sense of pride that I was able to kind of do what other people hadn't been able to, or just didn't want to try for some reason. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, absolutely finding the stuff and getting the stuff published. Yeah, I mean, it boosts my ego, I guess. Yeah, I mean,
Well, see, I know we do this stuff. It's not necessarily for a guild. It's for the information. It's to get history on paper. It's to, make sure there's a record of what's going on. But a byproduct of that is like a job well done. And definitely this is a job well done.
uh, it's
Oh,
yeah, that it's always something to, when you think about that this sort of information is being brought out there uh, because of me, that people are actually able to sort of document these stories before some of these people passed away, or things that would probably be lost completely to time. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the things too, that just having that knowledge that you were able to kind of put that stuff out there while other people could, like I said before, like other people couldn't or wouldn't. Um, and the fact that I was basically just doing this like on my crappy computer and my cell phone or my home phone, um, many without the budget of some of these other books or writers or television shows. So like in Dark Side of the Ring, um I remember hearing about them contacting all these people, and like those were names that took me years to find out, like I hadn't heard before. And they found it out right away, but then I thought to myself, I mean, what's their budget? How many people do they have working for them, and how many people are working for those people who are working for it? And it's like, well, I did that pretty much all on my own. So I mean, that's a pat on the back, Barry Horowitz or. Mhm.
no, that is huge. Like you said, just some of those names, not only have
Yeah.
they not been in the limelight, you were actually able to track them down when they've been staying hidden this entire time. So that's impressive
Yeah.
all on its own.
Yeah. Uh, like sometimes I just got lucky. The girlfriend who dated him before the whole UWF thing, um, she actually wrote to my Facebook page, and she thought it was Herb Abrams. She didn't know that he had died or any of the stuff had happened, and so I had to kind of inform her that not only was he dead, but he died in this specific way. So sometimes I just got lucky, and they just happened to contact me, and I would have never gotten that otherwise. So I love that stuff.
Man. Well, congratulations on this book, Jonathan. This looks great. Like I said, now the show is going to be able to be over. I'm going to go order it because I want to read this.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. Everybody out there, remember Tortured Ambition, the story of Herb Abrams and the UWF by Jonathan Plombon. Thank you again so much for joining us. If something else comes up and you want to come back on, please
I
let
just want to say one thing to the audience. I'm a better writer than I am a talker. So be sure to look for that. Don't worry about that part of it. So anyway, yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, this has been great. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, everybody, stay tuned because we'll be back later on with more. See you out there.